So I just threw this in before the 6:30 Mass. The Gospel is actually the same one I would read before I gave my castle talk, which is this talk. So it was such a weird little God moment. I didn't know that was the Gospel today. So just another reminder, God's always with me. For those who don't know me, I'm Isabelle Jordan. I am an incoming sophomore at Augustana College. I went to St. Francis de Sales School, and I was a peer minister for 2 years, and now you can find me behind the camera doing the church live streams. I am also the youngest of 2 immensely talented and creative siblings, and no words could describe how proud I am of them. My brother Connor is extremely passionate in music and theater, and my sister Madeline studied to become a film writer and director, and currently lives in LA working on various TV and movie sets. Creativity runs in my family, even though I felt like the gene had missed me. You see, my siblings had always had this natural relationship with the arts. My brother was a drama king from the moment he was born. He was singing and acting and drawing and being a diva, and you name it, Connor did it. Similarly, my sister was always writing and thinking of a new story and how she could make it come alive. Growing up, I thought there was nothing similar between my siblings and I. And finding where I was meant to fit into my own family was a struggle I imposed onto myself, and it eventually led to the development of my eating disorder. Although I always had issues with how my body looked, and I constantly nitpicked everything about myself, especially when people commented on how my body wasn't similar to my sister's, these remarks would go to the back of my head and only come forward when I was having a bad day or feeling particularly unconfident in my appearance. Going into high school, my goal was to find where I was meant to fit in within my own family. And so in order to be different from my artistic siblings, I pressured myself to be the most academically successful. I became so angry at where I was in my life, but I became even more angry at God. How could He allow me to have such low confidence? How could He allow me to punish myself by not eating? And how could He watch me suffer alone? These were the thoughts that went through my head. It was during this time I went to Castle, the confirmation weekend retreat. At first, I was extremely apprehensive, as most of the kids who go on are. I wasn't sure if I was willing to let God into my life yet. But then, one of the peer ministers leading the retreat gave a talk on similar battles to my own. And I was so taken aback by this because I had absolutely no clue that there was another person going through something like this, let alone in the same room as me. And I wasn't as alone as I had felt. My castle brought me so much closer to God as I felt He opened the door and took the hand that was clinging onto this idea I had of myself, and He held it, causing me to let go of the thing that had caused so much destruction in my life, which was control. After that, I was so motivated, going to Sunday Life Nights, Steubenville Youth Conference retreats, Wednesday adorations, and I was at the highest point in my life. I had healthy coping techniques to deal with my anxiety and eating habits as well. I thought it was so crazy how the same God who created the mountains and the oceans and the galaxies thought of me and decided the world needed one of me too. I was finally comfortable in the journey of discovering who I was, and I was the happiest I had ever been in my life. Like our faith journeys have highs and lows, so do our lives. This high in my life ended shortly, the first week of junior year, as I was immediately stressed out with all my AP classes and the typical panic attacks I experienced every time a new semester started. In addition, my sister had just moved to LA, so she was no longer just a train ride to Chicago away, and instead, thousands of miles were separating us. I could feel myself losing control that very first week, and having no control over the grief and the anxiety and the classwork and the grades. Everything drove me crazy, so I controlled what I could, which was food and exercise. My daily routine consisted of waking up around 4:30 in the morning, running 3 miles, skipping breakfast and lunch to study, and then I would go to work immediately after school until 8, eat a small dinner, do homework, and then run another 4 miles after that. And to top it off, I was sleeping probably around 3 hours on a good night. I wasn't talking to God, and my relationships deteriorated, and my life was falling apart, but no one knew because I had hid it for so long. This time, I felt like I had let God down. I wondered how he could love me when I was destroying the person he made me into. I knew I had to reach out for help, but it terrified me. Nevertheless, I decided that sometimes you need to stand up for yourself, to yourself, so I went into school and told my school social worker everything. I was absolutely terrified, but understood that occasionally the feeling of fear doesn't go away, so sometimes you'll just have to do some things afraid. My life finally started changing with my recovery journey. When people say recovery, you typically think of returning to who you were before the illness, but really in life, we always move forward. There is no going back. You do not merely recover, but you reinvent yourself. Recovery is beautiful, and it's difficult, and it's amazing, and it's really hard, and recovery is not linear. There are some days when I refuse to eat, and the sun doesn't shine, and it feels like it won't ever again. And on those days, I am able to lean on all the wonderful people God has placed in my life. And on many days, the sun is an endless light shining, reflecting love and strength and positivity. There are good days and there are bad days, but you must come to appreciate the bad days to revel in the endless opportunities of a good day. Recovery is something I must choose every single day. God was always holding my hand, as he is now, but it took me time to let him back into my life, and I'm still working on it. But he will always love me at my lowest point and at my highest, and that is one of the most reassuring things that keeps me motivated. We all have a chapter in the book of life that we don't read out loud, and sometimes the greatest miracle God can provide is helping you face exactly where you're at and saying, "This is where I am, no running, no hiding, there's good for me here, and I intend to find it no matter what. And I know all of heaven is rallying for me." Something I also need to accept is that not only is my mind constantly evolving, so is my body. I have to care for the body I have today, not the one I had 3 years ago, or 1 year ago, or even yesterday. I can't care for the body I'll have tomorrow, or in 5 years, or in 50. I have to take care of the person I am today, and I have to take care of the person God sees me as, even if I don't see myself that way just yet. God worked so hard on creating me to be uniquely me, and I've put this body through trauma, and I just need to learn how to forgive myself. And I have to apologize to myself for mistreating my body when it just wanted to be nourished and to be fed and to be taken care of. And I have to apologize to myself for infiltrating my mind with messages of hate, for trying to constantly change it, and never think I was good enough to even breathe. I have to apologize for not respecting my body and dismissing it when God created it to see and do beautiful things. Most importantly, I have to apologize to my body for not loving what God provided me with when he so clearly loved me enough to keep me breathing through it all. I remain connected to God through worship music jam sessions, reading scripture through my Bible app, etc. But my favorite way to remain connected to God is through my writing. God speaks to us all differently, and when I am writing, I am praying. The prayers I may think are too juvenile or too scary to say out loud. However, broken and unexplained because his love works within my heart. Although there is still a voice that repeats the negative comments I once said to myself, it has been quieted by many techniques, but one in particular. And Claire, she's gonna put a photo up there. So one day I was looking through my photos and I came across one of me, this one, and I was about 4 years old, running in my yard with my bathing suit on, and I was playing with a ball. And I just looked so happy. I just love that photo. And I imagined saying all these comments to my younger self, that she was useless and disgusting and worthless. And I saw my younger self's eyes get really big and just fill with tears. And her heart just broke. Why was I allowing to say those comments to myself now? I may have some issues with my past self, but as I have moved ahead on my life's journey, I realize that she didn't know any better. And I forgive me, and I love me, and I know I am evolving each day. So the grace of God and my incredible support system continues to pull me through my ups and downs, and I am forever thankful. My recovery has taught me that no one is one singular thing. My siblings are more than just creative, and I am more than just good in school. I am starting to understand more deeply the person God created me to be. I am different, I am quiet, I am graceful, I am anchored, I am fluid, I am deep in the experience of this life, and I am aware of the scent of it, and I am aware of the taste of it, and I am aware of the feeling of it, and I am at home in it, and I am at peace in it, and I am. Thank you so much.